Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be showcasing Logan Johnson's undefeated Dracotail deck profile at Seattle Regionals. Not as good as Yummy though. So if you guys want to learn all about Yummy, check out my Yummy masterclass down below, or check out the beautiful Yummy playmat you can get now. Let's go.
Hey guys, Logan Johnson here. I want to give a big thank you to Trif for allowing me to profile my deck on his channel. Before we get in, I do have a couple of plugs and shout outs I want to give. Number one, if you guys are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it. It's Logan Johnson YGO with the group profile picture. You can find me that way. Make sure to subscribe and follow the Gaming Metro on YouTube and TCG Player, best sponsor in the game. Couple other quick shout outs I want to give: SK Games, Hub City Collectibles, my friends and judges in Seattle, and a massive shout out to Luka Kovac, who really helped me learn this deck and gave me sample deck lists, showed me some combos, tips, and tricks with the deck the days leading up to the regional. Big shout out to him. And with that being said, let's get right into the profile. All right, and for the profile, let's get right into it. Play 3 Lucaius, 3 Malulu, 3 Fimena, 2 Urgula, and these are your Dracotail monsters. For those that don't know, I'll just run over them really quick. Whenever they're fused off, they set a Dracotail spell trap. This is a Stratos. This is a quick effect fusion summon. This is a quick effect fusion summon hand trap. And then Urgula is a non-target pop-a spell trap, and Pan is a non-target pop-a monster. And forgot to mention Malulu is also a non-target monster effect negate. And this is permanent, so like if you negate their guy on their turn, when it comes back to your turn, their guy will still be negated. Yeah, these cards are all fantastic. Every Dracotail card reads broken. Every Dracotail card is broken. As long as you're able to play the game, the card quality is ridiculous with this deck. The big issue with this deck though is you kind of get your deck up to like 34-35 cards, and then those last 5 remaining slots are kind of difficult to fill. So I feel like this deck isn't quite there yet to be like a very high tier 1 contending deck, but I do feel like this is a very solid mid-range deck. And the reason I play 2 Urgula over 2 Pan is because this one's better to hard draw, because its graveyard effect is very good. It puts itself to the bottom of the deck and adds a spellcaster back from your graveyard. So yeah, you want to draw this card more often than Pan, but in the future I would consider bumping this up to 2 and bumping maybe this up to 3, or siding more copies. Other engine, I did play the King of the Swamp package with Poly. This card helps you make Dragoons. It also can help you make Tyrant Dragon. Most importantly though, going second, this is a great board breaker. And post side, I was sending pretty much every deck first. So while game 1 this card is like sometimes not ideal, going second post side I want to see this card a lot, because I just want to spam Guardian Chimera. And like I said, this deck has like 34-35 cards that are like really good, and then you kind of have to fill out the rest. These are the cards I filled out the rest with. You could consider other options like Azuna. You could consider the Shadal cards. You can consider branded cards, Cartesia. But for this event, I played this. This was a recommendation by Luka Kovac. And yeah, this card was like very hit or miss. I think at times it could have been a lot better as something else. But it's also a small sample size. I started playing this deck on Friday and just kind of theoried with my friend Luka, and kind of took his word on it, took his advice. So yeah, this is what I played for the weekend. 3 Ketu, this is a Rhoda and a polymerization if your opponent controls a monster. 3 Rahu, this is essentially the branded fusion of the deck. This one locks you into fusions after you activated it. This one does not. These cards are all ridiculous. You have 6 like crazy broken power spells in this deck. I can't tell you guys how good these cards are. Like there's so many times my opponent just full boarded me and I had like no hand traps, and my hand is just like I have Ketu and Rahu and a bunch of Dracotails, and I'm able to like push through the board, create a grind game, complicate the game, and like force my opponent to play perfectly every single game to win. So that is the engine. Oh, Prosperity. This deck doesn't really care about the extra deck. You don't draw on turn 1. And then the trap cards of the deck. This is a Monster Bounce. This is a spell negate. For this one, the spell does have to stay face up on the field, so Forbidden Droplet is like very good against this one. This one's interesting. You can actually bounce your own monsters with this card, which comes up sometimes when you're playing against Vanquish Soul and Yummy. When they have the ability to like tag out their guys, sometimes you want to like bounce your own guy to ensure that this like resolves, or just like give value back in your hand. And then both of them, when they're activated on resolution, they put a Dracotail back from your graveyard or banishment to the bottom deck and draw a card. So that's one reason you want to play like a lot of hand traps in this deck. You want to play a lot of hand traps that work while you have a board. And when you activate these, you're always putting one back with the other to keep them in rotation forever. Non-engine, I got a fat stack here. 3 Fua, this is staple. I don't need to explain this. Just 2 Purlia. I wanted to cut down a little bit on the number of hand traps that don't work when I go first, just because this deck's end board is a little lower power than some of the other decks in the game. So it is very important that you have hand traps backing up your board, and it's also important that you have more hand traps that you can draw on your opponent's turn with the traps And then the best card in this deck, in my opinion, is 3 Nibiru. If you set up a Dracotail half board or full board with this card, it's actually impossible to lose, in my opinion. Because with this deck, I just played like every single game to not die. I made my half board, whatever it was, and I played every single game to not die and get to turn 3. I didn't care if my opponent could make a half board. I didn't try to cut them off early. I let them play. I made sure they couldn't kill me. I made sure I had a very good amount of follow-up, and I made sure to try to cut off their follow-up if possible. And there's no better card in the game at doing that than Nibiru. And this card also obviously pairs with 5 mana. There's some cool plays you can do where like you can nib in 5 mana and then they don't get the token. That didn't really come up for me that much, just because like there's a lot of games where like you need to activate these at separate times. And then other hand traps, 3 Ash, this is standard. I played Magnema. This card is ridiculous in this deck because it can search Pan, Urgula, as well as Malulu, so it can just like search a starter, or it can search you like a board breaker. Puts a body on board. You can also just like recycle this over and over again. You just keep adding this back with Altheron. 2 Effect Veiler. This card's unique to this deck because it is a spellcaster, so it can help you make fusions. But the big thing it has going for it is it's a hand trap that's non once per turn. So once you get 1 in rotation, you can like keep adding it back and keep using it. Or like you can use it on your opponent's turn and then summon Altheron, bounce your guy, bounce this, use it again. And it's a monster, so it's better than Imperm in this deck, obviously, because you need a high monster count to keep fusion summoning. And then the flex spot on my deck for hand traps, I went with 2 Ogre. This deck has a not great Vanquish Soul matchup. What's interesting is what I found is the Vanquish Soul matchup really is a skill check matchup. Your opponent should, in theory, win a very, very high percentage of the time, although it's not easy. The games get very complicated. They go very long, and there's a lot of opportunity for your opponent to misplay. And the reason I played this was because it helps me in that matchup because I can hit their field spell. I can hit the Vanquish Soul start. This card's also solid against Yummy. You can hit the minion, or you can just hit the link one on summon. And it's also just a monster hand trap, helps back up your board. And it clears the guy on board, so it prevents you from dying. So that is the main deck. I played 41. For the extra deck, 3 Atheron. You have to play 3 this card. It comes up a lot. This is like one of the only fusion summons like you're really just spamming like every single turn. 2 Gulamel. I don't know if I ever summoned the second one. I had room for 2, so I put it in just in case like it comes up in the grind game, but I rarely even summon the first one, so in the future maybe I don't even play the second one. This card is just not that good because if they respawn to your Dracotail cards, then you can't use this. You have to respawn this directly into your Dracotail, so it's like it's a pop 1 on your M board that's like kind of difficult to use. Mysterion, this card is really, really neat. There's some really cool plays you can do with Holly Sue, like against Holly Sue, where you can like hold a 5 mana, hold a Pan in your hand, and when they activate Holly Sue, you can chain 5 mana, fuse off the Pan in your hand, and summon this. And this card says if your opponent summons a monster with its own effect, you can banish that monster. So you banish the Holly Sue, and then if they chain the Holly Sue, whatever they summon will get non-target popped off the Pan on a new chain. Or sorry, on that chain basically. So this card is like really neat for that. There's also some applications against like Mitsurugi, where if they like summon back a guy, you can banish all their reptiles, which is kind of neat. So this card does come up. It has a lot of use cases that you kind of have to find, and I think I didn't use this card as much as I should have. I should have been summoning this card more than I did. But I am still like somewhat new to this deck. I like really started studying this deck on Friday. Secretarian Dragon. This card is insane in the mirror match. It's a floodgate for dragon and spellcaster monsters. And its other effect is you can put a dragon, you can target a dragon and a spellcaster in your grave, put one to the bottom deck, and special summon the other one. So it's a way to push damage, it's a way to get bodies back on your board, and a floodgate in the mirror is really, really solid. Guardian Chimera, obviously for the Polys and Kingless Swamp. Dragoon for the Kingless Swamp. I made this card a lot. I mean, I summoned this card more than I should have. There's a few times I summoned this card and I probably should have just summoned this guy, because it's just like, this card's so much value and it's a really good interruption. It's ridiculous. But there are some matchups where this card just carries, and it does add to the power of your end board. Tyrant Dragon, this one's interesting. I think I only made this card like once or twice. The idea is you have a lot of room in your extra deck, so you can just play this. But with King of the Swamp, you can make this, and let's say like your traps get ashed and they're stuck in the graveyard. You don't really have a way to recycle them, so this is a way to like reset one and then get your loop going again. For Link monsters, I played the Spirit with Eyes of Blue and the Seals. Pretty much this combo is anytime that you open, it can be like Ketu, any way to Ketu or Lucaeus, plus a Dracotail name, you can get to your standard Dracotail M board plus the Seals. You just link off the Lucaeus for this, and then you turn the Atheron and the Blue Eyes guy into the Seals. Once you get to that M board, that feels like a real Yu-Gi-Oh M board. That feels like a really strong winning M board. It's just some of the other games where like you don't have access to Lucaeus where the games get a little bit sketchy. For other utility, I played SP, obviously. Cross Sheep, this card is really neat in this deck. When you have two bodies on the field in the grind game, you can link them off and then summon back like your Gulamel or your Atheron, and you can summon it to the zone that Cross Sheep points to, and then you can reborn a monster like Lucaeus. It's just kind of free value. It's really strong in the grind game. This is another card I don't think I utilized as much as I was supposed to. And then this is just like your concede button. Typhon, this card is not that great, but you have infinite extra deck space, so for the games that it does come up and steal you a game, it's worth having. I will say I did some of this in the mirror match once, and it was very good, so I would not cut this. For the side deck, I did decide to go second, post side against pretty much everything. So I sided 3 Pinkertops. This is for Yummy. The only lose condition against Yummy, in my opinion, is Herald of Arclight. Aside from that, as long as you have a way to play, your deck kind of just counters their deck going second. So I wanted the maximum ways to out Arclight, and this is one of them. This card's also very good in the Dracotail mirror match when you send them first. 3 Meows. This card was also for Yummy, but also covered Malice, obviously. Most of the time I was using this card on my own turn, just starting this as like my turn 0 play. Sometimes they would try to negate this, but that I was fine if they use like an Ash on this or a negate on this instead of my Dracotail spells. But the idea behind this is against Yummy, you just want to see more cards. You want to see more ways to fuse. You want to see more Pinkertops. You just want to see more gas to break their board. And this card is always going to give you 2 to 3 draws, if not more. And it also gave me the coverage against Malice that I like. 3 Droll. I sided this in against Vanquish Soul when I made them start, and also against Mitsurugi. You can recycle this card. It's very solid. Once again, monster hand traps are broken in this deck, and Spellcaster. 2 Retaliating. This is something that I don't know if I'd side in the future. I just did it for this event because it was a regional, and I knew in my area there was going to be a lot of Dracotails, so I wanted to have some coverage. This is not something that I'm set on playing, but in the mirror match, this card is fantastic, of course. This will look a little goofy. There's 2 Lancia. This should probably be 3 in most people's decks, but once again, it's a regional. I built my deck for my area, and there's very little Malice in my area. So if you guys have Malice in your area, of course, play 3 of this card, obviously. The 3rd, Perulia. Nothing really to explain here. And then the only non-monster side deck card I did was Duster. There wasn't really a card that filled the slot that Duster did. I needed a card that was like very generic, going second against a lot of decks to fix my siding patterns, and I couldn't find a monster card that did that. Pankertop was like the closest thing, but this card just isn't good enough against some decks like Mitsurugi and Rizal. So this card was like very solid. I would even consider maybe playing like a Lightning Storm alongside it, but yeah, this was the deck. I finished 7 wins, 0 losses, and a draw. I played against pretty much all meta, all the new decks, plus a couple of Mitsu Rizal decks. So yeah, once again, thank you to Trif for having me on his channel, and if you guys are not subscribed to mine, make sure to do that. And yeah, have a good day. Peace out.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Logan Johnson knows what he's talking about with the deck. Obviously, Dracotail is a very powerful deck. Let me know down below if you guys think it's as good as Yummy. In my opinion, I think it's better than Canine Vanquish Soul because Canine Vanquish Soul bricks too much, and you're allowed to play 20 plus non-engine if you really want in Dracotail, which is why I do like it. Thank you, Logan Johnson, for coming on. Make sure to subscribe to all of his team as well as himself down below. Check out the Yummy spreadsheet down below, and if you love Yummy, check out the Yummy playmat down below. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.